Jasmine Carter stepped out of her elegant silver SUV, her gaze fixed on the impressive entrance of Willow Creek Country Club. The late afternoon sun cast a warm glow on the sprawling green fairways and meticulously maintained gardens. Wearing a stylish navy blouse and tailored pants, Jasmine felt a surge of anticipation mixed with pride. As she walked toward the entrance, Jasmine's thoughts drifted back to her early years. She recalled the modest home she grew up in, the comforting hum of her father's workshop late into the night as he worked diligently to support their family. A gentle smile formed on her lips as she reflected on her journey. From managing a small local store to building a successful enterprise, she whispered to herself, feeling a sense of accomplishment. Jasmine's path hadn't been straightforward. She had overcome numerous challenges, put in long hours, and made difficult choices. Yet, her resolve never faltered. She established her business from scratch, treating everyone with kindness and integrity along the way. As she reached for the grand wooden door of the club, Jasmine felt a wave of confidence. She knew her accomplishments spoke louder than any bias or prejudice she might encounter. She had earned her place here through hard work and dedication. The cool, inviting atmosphere inside the club greeted her as she entered the spacious foyer. The scent of polished wood and fresh flowers filled the air. Jasmine's eyes widened, taking in the elegant chandeliers and plush seating areas. "Good afternoon, ma'am. How can I help you?" A well-dressed receptionist greeted her with a warm smile. Jasmine returned the smile graciously. "Good afternoon. I'm Jasmine Carter. I have an appointment about membership." As the receptionist checked her computer, Jasmine's mind wandered to the opportunities her success had brought her. She thought about the jobs she'd created, the families she'd supported, and the community projects she'd funded. A deep sense of fulfillment settled in her heart. "Ms. Carter, welcome to Willow Creek," the receptionist announced, bringing Jasmine back to the present moment. "Ms. Linda Harris will see you shortly. Please have a seat in our lounge area." Jasmine thanked her and made her way to a comfortable armchair. As she sat down, she felt a sense of belonging. She had worked tirelessly for this moment and was ready to embrace it fully. Jasmine walked gracefully through the elegant halls of Willow Creek Country Club, her heels clicking softly on the marble floor. The ambiance was a blend of sophistication and warmth, with tasteful artwork adorning the walls and the gentle murmur of conversations filling the air. She felt a flutter of nerves mixed with excitement as she approached the office of Linda Harris, the club manager. A few moments later, Linda appeared at the door. She was a middle-aged woman with a poised demeanor, her hair perfectly styled, and her attire impeccably professional. Jasmine extended her hand with a friendly smile. "Ms. Harris, it's a pleasure to meet you," Jasmine said warmly. Linda shook her hand firmly but briefly, her expression neutral. "Ms. Carter, welcome to Willow Creek. Please, have a seat." Jasmine took a seat across from Linda's desk, placing her application folder neatly on the table. She maintained her confident smile, though she couldn't help but feel a slight tension in the room. "So, Jasmine, tell me a little about yourself and why you're interested in joining Willow Creek," Linda began, her tone polite yet guarded. Jasmine took a deep breath, ready to share her story. "Absolutely. I've dedicated the past 2 decades to building my own business, Carter Consulting. Along the way, I've always valued community and the importance of creating spaces where people can connect and thrive. Willow Creek stood out to me as a place that embodies those values, and I'd love to be a part of such a vibrant community." Linda listened attentively, her eyes occasionally flicking to the folder in Jasmine's hands. After a moment of silence, she leaned back in her chair, her expression slightly skeptical. "That's commendable, Jasmine. However, Willow Creek has a long-standing tradition and a specific membership culture. We pride ourselves on maintaining a certain atmosphere here." Jasmine nodded, understanding the underlying message. "I completely respect and appreciate the traditions. In fact, I believe that evolving while honoring the past is essential for any community to thrive. I'm here to contribute positively and bring in fresh perspectives." Linda's eyes narrowed slightly, but she remained composed. "I see. Well, we do receive a lot of applications each year, and our membership is quite selective. I'll need to review your application thoroughly." Jasmine smiled, not wanting to show any signs of frustration. "Of course, I understand. Please let me know if there's any additional information I can provide." As the meeting concluded, Jasmine stood up, maintaining her gracious demeanor. "Thank you for your time, Ms. Harris. I look forward to hearing from you soon." Linda nodded, her expression unreadable. "Thank you, Jasmine. We'll be in touch." Jasmine left the office, her mind racing with thoughts about the encounter. She sensed the subtle resistance, but remained hopeful. Determined not to let this setback deter her, she decided to channel her energy into her business, believing that her success would eventually open doors that were previously closed. Jasmine left Linda Harris's office with a mix of hope and apprehension. She walked through the grand halls of Willow Creek, her mind replaying the conversation. The subtle hesitation in Linda's voice hadn't gone unnoticed, but Jasmine chose to remain optimistic. As she approached the main entrance, she noticed a small crowd gathered near the reception area. Curious, she made her way over, wondering if something had happened. To her surprise, Linda was speaking with another applicant, a middle-aged man named Robert Mitchell. "Robert, your application looks strong," Linda said, her tone polite but distant. "We'll notify you soon." Robert smiled, unaware of the underlying tension. Jasmine watched as Linda turned her attention to another person, her expressions and gestures maintaining a professional facade. After a few moments, Linda approached Jasmine again. "Ms. Carter, I have an update on your application." Jasmine's heart raced. "Yes, please." Linda took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. "I'm sorry to inform you that we are unable to accept new members at this time." Jasmine felt a pang of disappointment but kept her composure. "I understand. Thank you for considering my application." As she gathered her belongings, Linda added, "We receive many applications and unfortunately we have to make tough decisions." Jasmine forced a smile. "I appreciate your time, Ms. Harris." Leaving the office, Jasmine felt a mix of emotions. The rejection stung, but she reminded herself of her achievements and resilience. She had built her business from the ground up and knew her worth. In her car, Jasmine took a moment to collect her thoughts. She reflected on the obstacles she had overcome and the support she had from her family and community. Determined not to let this setback define her, she decided to focus on her next steps. That evening, Jasmine returned to her beautiful home in the suburbs. The warm glow of the setting sun filtered through the large windows, casting a comforting light across the spacious living room. She sank into her favorite armchair, a sense of weariness settling in. Her phone buzzed with messages from friends and family, offering words of encouragement. Jasmine smiled at their support, feeling grateful for the strong network she had built over the years. She glanced around her home, admiring the photographs and mementos that chronicled her journey. From her early days managing a small business to the numerous community projects she had spearheaded, each memory was a testament to her dedication and hard work. Jasmine picked up a framed photo of her parents, their proud smiles reminding her of the values they had instilled in her. "You taught me to never give up," she whispered, feeling their presence guiding her. As she sat there, an idea began to form in her mind. If Willow Creek wasn't ready to embrace change, maybe it was time for her to take matters into her own hands. She thought about creating a space that truly reflected her values of inclusivity and community. With renewed determination, Jasmine decided to explore new opportunities that would allow her to make a meaningful impact. She knew that one rejection wouldn't deter her from her mission to build a better, more welcoming community. Months passed, and Willow Creek Country Club began to show signs of struggle. The once vibrant club saw a decline in membership, and the lush gardens were not as well maintained as before. The staff, once full of energy and pride, seemed weary and disheartened. Linda Harris sat in her office reviewing the latest membership reports. The numbers were concerning, with fewer new members joining each month. She rubbed her temples, feeling the weight of the club's declining fortunes. A knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. "Come in," she called out. Mark Thompson, the club's head groundskeeper, entered with a worried expression. "Linda, we've been having issues with the maintenance team. The gardens aren't looking as good, and some members have voiced their concerns." Linda sighed, running a hand through her hair. "I know, Mark. We're facing some tough times. We're trying to figure out how to turn things around." Meanwhile, the staff whispered among themselves during meetings, speculating about the club's future. Rumors of financial difficulties and possible ownership changes circulated, adding to the growing unease. One evening, as Linda stayed late to review the finances, she received an unexpected call from Jasmine Carter. "Hi, Linda. I hope you're doing well," Jasmine began, her voice steady and calm. Linda looked up, surprised. "Jasmine!" "It's been a while. How can I help you?" Jasmine continued. "I've been following Willow Creek's progress, and I understand things have been challenging lately. I wanted to reach out and see if there's any way I can assist or support the club during this time." Linda felt a mix of emotions: surprise, gratitude, and a hint of skepticism. "I appreciate your offer, Jasmine. We're definitely in need of support, but I'm not sure what you can do at this point." Jasmine replied, "I'd like to discuss some ideas that could help revitalize the club and make it more inclusive. Perhaps we can meet and talk about it." After a moment's hesitation, Linda agreed. "All right, let's set up a meeting next week." As they hung up, Linda couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. Maybe Jasmine's involvement could be the catalyst Willow Creek needed to overcome its challenges. The following week, Jasmine arrived at Willow Creek for her meeting with Linda. The atmosphere in the club had grown more subdued, but Jasmine's presence seemed to bring a spark of optimism. They sat down in Linda's office, the tension between them gradually easing as they began to discuss potential solutions. Jasmine outlined her vision for a more inclusive and community-focused club. She suggested hosting events that catered to a diverse membership, offering programs that encouraged interaction and connection among members of all backgrounds. "I believe that by fostering a more welcoming environment, we can attract new members and retain our current ones," Jasmine explained. "It's about creating a space where everyone feels valued and respected." Linda listened intently, nodding thoughtfully. "Those are some great ideas, Jasmine. We've been struggling to modernize while maintaining our traditions. Your perspective could really help us find that balance." They spent hours brainstorming strategies, from expanding the club's amenities to enhancing community outreach programs. Jasmine's enthusiasm was contagious, and Linda found herself inspired by the possibilities. As the meeting concluded, Linda extended her hand. "Thank you, Jasmine. I think working together could be exactly what Willow Creek needs right now." Jasmine smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. "I'm glad to hear that, Linda. Let's make Willow Creek a place where everyone feels at home." Over the next few months, Jasmine and Linda worked closely to implement the new initiatives. They organized community events, revamped the club's marketing to highlight its inclusive values, and introduced programs that catered to a wider range of interests. The changes began to bear fruit. New members joined, drawn by the club's fresh approach and welcoming atmosphere. Existing members appreciated the enhancements, feeling a renewed sense of pride in Willow Creek. Jasmine also focused on empowering the staff, providing training and opportunities for growth. She believed that a motivated team was essential for the club's success. One day, as Jasmine toured the improved facilities, she received a call from Mark Thompson. "Jasmine, I just wanted to let you know that the gardens are looking fantastic. The new team you brought in is doing an amazing job." Jasmine felt a surge of pride. "That's wonderful to hear, Mark. Keep up the great work." As the months went by, Willow Creek transformed from a struggling club into a thriving community hub. The once tense atmosphere was now filled with laughter and camaraderie, a testament to the power of collaboration and inclusive leadership. 6 months after her initial rejection, Jasmine received an invitation to a special event at Willow Creek. She arrived to find the club bustling with activity, beautifully decorated for the occasion. Linda greeted her warmly. "Jasmine, thank you for everything you've done. The club wouldn't be where it is today without your contributions." Jasmine smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "It's been a pleasure working with you, Linda. I'm proud of what we've achieved together. As the evening unfolded, members celebrated the club's resurgence. Stories of friendship and community filled the air, showcasing the positive impact of the changes. Towards the end of the night, Linda approached Jasmine with a thoughtful expression. You know, Jasmine, when you first applied for membership, I didn't fully understand your vision, but now I see how much you've brought to Willow Creek. Jasmine nodded, reflecting on her journey. Sometimes, setbacks lead to new opportunities. I'm grateful for the chance to make a difference here. As the night came to a close, Jasmine looked around at the vibrant community she had helped cultivate. The rejection she had faced 6 months earlier now felt like a distant memory, replaced by the success and inclusivity that defined Willow Creek Country Club. Years passed, and Willow Creek continued to flourish under Jasmine's guidance. The club became a model of inclusivity and community engagement, attracting members from all walks of life. Jasmine's efforts extended beyond the club, as she established scholarships and mentorship programs to support young women pursuing their dreams. Her legacy was one of resilience, compassion, and unwavering commitment to creating positive change. One sunny afternoon, Jasmine stood on the patio of Willow Creek, overlooking the vibrant gardens and the joyful gatherings of members. She felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought her here. As she watched a group of young women engaging in a leadership workshop, Jasmine knew that her work had made a lasting impact. She had turned a moment of rejection into a catalyst for transformation, proving that with determination and heart, true change was possible. Everything seemed fine on the surface. Gerald Thompson had managed Willow Creek Country Club for years, confident in his ability to keep things running smoothly. He believed firmly in the club's traditions and couldn't imagine anyone being able to replace him. Yet, deep down, Gerald felt a knot of fear forming in his stomach. He realized that times were changing, and his old-fashioned ways might not align with Jasmine Carter's vision for the club. Still, he was determined to maintain his facade of confidence. As the clock ticked closer to the meeting time, Gerald took a deep breath and straightened his tie. He forced a charming smile and walked out to join the staff, ready to face whatever changes might come. As the double doors swung open, a hush fell over the room. All eyes turned to the figure silhouetted in the doorway. Jasmine Carter stepped forward, her presence calm yet commanding. She wore a perfectly tailored suit, her posture straight and confident. As she entered, a subtle smile played on her lips, her eyes taking in the assembled staff. Gerald, standing at the front of the group, puffed out his chest and prepared to greet the new owner. He had rehearsed his welcome speech countless times, determined to make a good first impression. But as Jasmine drew closer, Gerald's practiced smile began to falter. Recognition dawned on Gerald's face, his eyes widening in disbelief. The color drained from his cheeks as he realized who was standing before him. It was the same woman he had dismissed so arrogantly just months ago, the woman he had deemed unworthy of membership at Willow Creek. Gerald's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. His hands began to tremble and beads of sweat formed on his forehead. The shock was evident in every line of his face, his earlier confidence evaporating in an instant. Jasmine's eyes met Gerald's, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. The rest of the staff looked on, confused by Gerald's reaction. They had never seen their usually composed manager so flustered. Jasmine's expression remained neutral, but there was a glimmer of something in her eyes, a mix of satisfaction and determination. She had waited for this moment, planned for it meticulously, and now it was finally here. As Jasmine approached Gerald, the tension in the room was palpable. The staff held their breath, sensing that something significant was unfolding before them, even if they didn't understand what it was. Gerald's fear was evident in his rigid posture and wide eyes. He looked like a man who had seen his past come back to haunt him, and in a way it had. The consequences of his actions were now standing right in front of him, ready to address the very people he had sought to protect from change. Gerald stood rooted to the spot, his face a mask of shock and dismay. His hands trembled as he tried to regain his composure, but it was a losing battle. The weight of his past actions pressed down on him, crushing his pride and leaving him feeling exposed and vulnerable. Jasmine, on the other hand, exuded calm confidence as she addressed the assembled staff. Her voice was warm and reassuring as she spoke about her vision for Willow Creek. "Good morning, everyone," Jasmine began, her gaze sweeping across the room. "I'm excited to be here with you today as the new owner of Willow Creek Country Club. I believe in this club's potential, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you to make it even better." As Jasmine continued to speak, Gerald fidgeted uncomfortably. He opened his mouth several times, trying to find the right moment to apologize, but the words stuck in his throat. The guilt gnawed at him, making his stomach churn. Jasmine's words washed over the staff, painting a picture of a more inclusive and vibrant future for the club. "We're going to make some changes," she said, her voice filled with warmth. "Changes that will open our doors to a wider community and breathe new life into this beautiful place." Throughout her speech, Jasmine pointedly avoided looking at Gerald. The manager's attempts to catch her eye went unnoticed, leaving Gerald feeling increasingly desperate. As the staff listened attentively to Jasmine's plans, nodding and smiling with growing enthusiasm, Gerald felt more and more isolated. The dread of what his future might hold under Jasmine's leadership weighed heavily on him. Jasmine continued her speech, her presence commanding yet warm. She smiled gently, her eyes twinkling with determination and hope. "Willow Creek has a rich history," she began, her voice clear and strong. "But it's time for us to write a new chapter together." The staff listened intently, their faces a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Jasmine continued. "Our club will become a place where everyone feels welcome, regardless of their race, background, or social status. We're going to tear down the walls of exclusivity and build bridges of inclusivity." She paused, letting her words sink in. Some staff members nodded in agreement, while others shifted uncomfortably. Gerald, still standing off to the side, looked particularly uneasy. "I know change can be scary," Jasmine acknowledged, her tone softening. "But I believe in the power of diversity. When we bring different perspectives together, we grow stronger as a community." Jasmine went on to outline some of the changes she envisioned. "We'll be updating our membership policies, renovating our facilities to be more accessible, and introducing programs that celebrate diverse cultures and traditions." As she spoke, the atmosphere in the room began to shift. The initial tension started to dissolve, replaced by a growing sense of excitement and possibility. But most importantly, Jasmine emphasized, her gaze sweeping across the room, "We're going to create an environment where respect is paramount. Every person who walks through our doors deserves to be treated with dignity and kindness." The staff listened attentively, many of them nodding in agreement. Even those who had initially seemed hesitant were now leaning forward, drawn in by Jasmine's vision. "I know this journey won't always be easy," Jasmine admitted. "Change rarely is, but I believe in the potential of Willow Creek, and I believe in each and every one of you. Together, we can make this club a shining example of what's possible when we embrace diversity and inclusion." When Jasmine finished speaking, she turned to shake hands with some of the staff members. Gerald saw his chance and stepped forward, his voice quavering. "Ms. Carter, I need to speak with you." But Jasmine simply nodded politely and moved on to the next person, leaving Gerald standing there, his unspoken apology hanging in the air between them. As the initial excitement of Jasmine's speech settled, the real work began. Days later, the staff of Willow Creek soon found themselves immersed in an intensive training program focused on diversity and proper guest management. Jasmine had made it clear that this wasn't just a suggestion. It was a requirement for continued employment at the club. The training sessions were comprehensive and challenging. Experts in diversity and inclusion were brought in to lead workshops, role-playing exercises, and group discussions. The employees learned about unconscious bias, cultural sensitivity, and the importance of creating a welcoming environment for all guests. During one particularly impactful session, Jasmine herself shared her personal experiences with discrimination. Her story touched many of the staff members, opening their eyes to the realities faced by people of color in spaces like Willow Creek. "This isn't just about following rules," Jasmine explained, her voice filled with emotion. "It's about understanding and empathy. Every person who walks through our doors deserves to feel valued and respected." As the training progressed, the atmosphere at the club began to shift. Some employees embraced the changes wholeheartedly, excited about the new direction. Others struggled, finding it difficult to let go of old habits and prejudices. Jasmine made it abundantly clear that there would be no exceptions. In a staff meeting, she stated firmly, "Anyone who fails to comply with our new standards or maintains a record of bad behavior will be dismissed. We're building a new Willow Creek, and there's no room for discrimination or disrespect here." Her words sent a ripple through the room. The employees realized that their future at Willow Creek now depended on their ability to adapt to these new values. It wasn't just about learning new policies. It was about embracing a fundamental shift in mindset. For some, like Gerald, this was a particularly difficult pill to swallow. He found himself struggling to keep up with the changes, his old prejudices constantly threatening to surface. He knew that his job hung in the balance, and for the first time in years, he felt truly uncertain about his place at the club. Gerald's anxiety grew with each passing day. The weight of his past actions and the uncertainty of his future at Willow Creek pressed heavily on his shoulders. He found himself constantly looking over his shoulder, watching Jasmine from afar, trying to find the right moment to approach her. Gerald's discomfort was palpable. He shifted from foot to foot, his usual air of superiority completely gone. For the first time in his long career at Willow Creek, he felt truly out of place. As the days went by, Gerald's colleagues noticed his unease. The once confident and authoritative manager now seemed to shrink into himself, avoiding eye contact and keeping to the corners of rooms during staff meetings. Despite the obvious changes in his demeanor, Gerald kept his concerns to himself. He was unsure how to navigate this new reality, afraid that confiding in others might somehow make its way back to Jasmine and further jeopardize his position. Jasmine threw herself into the task of transforming Willow Creek with unwavering determination. Each day she arrived early at the club, her mind brimming with ideas for positive change. She worked tirelessly, meeting with staff, reviewing policies, and overseeing renovations. The club's stuffy old rulebook was the first thing to go. Jasmine replaced it with a new set of guidelines that emphasized respect, inclusivity, and fairness. She personally led training sessions for the staff, teaching them how to create a welcoming environment for all guests, regardless of their background. As the weeks passed, the club's atmosphere began to shift. The once exclusive air gave way to a warm, inviting ambiance. Jasmine made sure that the club's decor reflected this new spirit, replacing old portraits of past members with vibrant artwork from diverse artists. The walls were painted in warm, inviting colors, and comfortable seating areas were added to encourage socializing among members. Outside, the landscaping was redesigned to be more accessible, with wider paths and ramps for those with mobility issues. The golf course itself remained challenging, but new tee boxes were added to accommodate players of all skill levels. Gerald, true to his word, threw himself into the task of retraining the staff. He worked closely with Jasmine to develop a comprehensive program that went beyond mere rules and regulations. The staff learned about unconscious bias, cultural sensitivity, and the importance of creating a welcoming environment for all. As the changes took hold, the atmosphere at Willow Creek shifted dramatically. The staff, once wary of the new direction, now embraced it wholeheartedly. They greeted members and guests with genuine warmth, regardless of their background or appearance. Members noticed the difference, too. Longtime members who had initially been skeptical of the changes found themselves pleasantly surprised by the club's new energy. New members from diverse backgrounds felt truly welcome, often commenting on the friendly atmosphere. One sunny afternoon, Jasmine stood on the clubhouse balcony surveying the scene below. One sunny afternoon, Elijah stood on the clubhouse balcony, surveying the scene below. The once quiet and exclusive Willow Creek was now buzzing with activity. Groups of new members mingled effortlessly, enjoying the newly added amenities and diverse events. The transformation was evident, and Elijah felt a sense of accomplishment wash over him. Inside, the clubhouse had undergone a remarkable change. Vibrant artwork adorned the walls, showcasing the rich cultures and traditions of the new members. Comfortable seating areas encouraged conversations and connections among guests. The once formal and stiff atmosphere had softened into a warm and inviting space. Elijah descended the stairs and made his way to the main lounge, where several staff members were arranging decorations for an upcoming multicultural event. Maria Rodriguez, one of the newer members and a talented event planner, approached him with a bright smile. "Elijah, the preparations for the Diwali celebration are coming along nicely," Maria said. "The decorations are beautiful, and the guests are really excited." Elijah smiled, pleased with the progress. "That's fantastic, Maria. Your hard work is really paying off. This event is a perfect example of the inclusive environment we're striving to create." As they spoke, Gerald watched from a distance, his posture still tense but his curiosity piqued. He had been observing the changes with a mix of apprehension and intrigue. The positive feedback from members and the enthusiasm of the staff were beginning to chip away at his resistance. Later that day, Gerald found himself alone in his office, reflecting on the recent events. He stared at the framed photo of Elijah and himself from the day of the confrontation. He knew that his job hung in the balance, and for the first time in years, he felt truly uncertain about his place at the club. Gerald's anxiety grew with each passing day. The weight of his past actions and the uncertainty of his future at Willow Creek pressed heavily on his shoulders. He found himself constantly looking over his shoulder, watching Jasmine from afar, trying to find the right moment to approach her. Gerald's discomfort was palpable. He shifted from foot to foot, his usual air of superiority completely gone. For the first time in his long career at Willow Creek, he felt truly out of place. As the days went by, Gerald's colleagues noticed his unease. The once confident and authoritative manager now seemed to shrink into himself, avoiding eye contact and keeping to the corners of rooms during staff meetings. Despite the obvious changes in his demeanor, Gerald kept his concerns to himself. He was unsure how to navigate this new reality, afraid that confiding in others might somehow make its way back to Jasmine and further jeopardize his position. Jasmine threw herself into the task of transforming Willow Creek with unwavering determination. Each day she arrived early at the club, her mind brimming with ideas for positive change. She worked tirelessly, meeting with staff, reviewing policies, and overseeing renovations. The club's stuffy old rule book was the first thing to go. Jasmine replaced it with a new set of guidelines that emphasized respect, inclusivity, and fairness. She personally led training sessions for the staff, teaching them how to create a welcoming environment for all guests, regardless of their background. As the weeks passed, the club's atmosphere began to shift. The once exclusive air gave way to a warm, inviting ambiance. Jasmine made sure that the club's decor reflected this new spirit, replacing old portraits of past members with vibrant artwork from diverse artists. The walls were painted in warm, inviting colors, and comfortable seating areas were added to encourage socializing among members. Outside, the landscaping was redesigned to be more accessible, with wider paths and ramps for those with mobility issues. The golf course itself remained challenging, but new tee boxes were added to accommodate players of all skill levels. Gerald, true to his word, threw himself into the task of retraining the staff. He worked closely with Jasmine to develop a comprehensive program that went beyond mere rules and regulations. The staff learned about unconscious bias, cultural sensitivity, and the importance of creating a welcoming environment for all. As the changes took hold, the atmosphere at Willow Creek shifted dramatically. The staff, once wary of the new direction, now embraced it wholeheartedly. They greeted members and guests with genuine warmth, regardless of their background or appearance. Members noticed the difference, too. Longtime members who had initially been skeptical of the changes found themselves pleasantly surprised by the club's new energy. New members from diverse backgrounds felt truly welcome, often commenting on the friendly atmosphere. One sunny afternoon, Jasmine stood on the clubhouse balcony surveying the scene below. One sunny afternoon, Elijah stood on the clubhouse balcony, surveying the scene below. The once quiet and exclusive Willow Creek was now buzzing with activity. Groups of new members mingled effortlessly, enjoying the newly added amenities and diverse events. The transformation was evident, and Elijah felt a sense of accomplishment wash over him. Inside, the clubhouse had undergone a remarkable change. Vibrant artwork adorned the walls, showcasing the rich cultures and traditions of the new members. Comfortable seating areas encouraged conversations and connections among guests. The once formal and stiff atmosphere had softened into a warm and inviting space. Elijah descended the stairs and made his way to the main lounge, where several staff members were arranging decorations for an upcoming multicultural event. Maria Rodriguez, one of the newer members and a talented event planner, approached him with a bright smile. "Elijah, the preparations for the Diwali celebration are coming along nicely," Maria said. "The decorations are beautiful and the guests are really excited." Elijah smiled, pleased with the progress. "That's fantastic, Maria. Your hard work is really paying off. This event is a perfect example of the inclusive environment we're striving to create." As they spoke, Gerald watched from a distance, his posture still tense but his curiosity piqued. He had been observing the changes with a mix of apprehension and intrigue. The positive feedback from members and the enthusiasm of the staff were beginning to chip away at his resistance. Later that day, Gerald found himself alone in his office, reflecting on the recent events. He stared at the framed photo of Elijah and himself from the day of the confrontation. The memory of that moment still lingered, but something had shifted within him. Taking a deep breath, Gerald picked up the phone and dialed Elijah's extension. After a few rings, Elijah answered. "Hello, Gerald. How can I help you?" Gerald hesitated for a moment before speaking. "Mr. Walker, do you have a moment? I'd like to discuss something with you." "Of course, Gerald. Come on in," Elijah replied warmly. Gerald entered Elijah's office, closing the door behind him. The room was bright and inviting, with large windows offering a view of the thriving clubhouse below. Elijah sat behind his desk, looking up with a welcoming smile. "Please, have a seat." Elijah gestured to the chair across from him. Gerald took a deep breath and sat down, feeling a mixture of nerves and determination. "I wanted to apologize for my behavior the other day. I was wrong to judge you so harshly, and I'm sorry for how I acted." Elijah nodded, his expression understanding. "Thank you, Gerald. I appreciate your apology. It takes courage to admit when we're wrong." Gerald looked down, ashamed. "I've been with Willow Creek for so long, and I realize now that my resistance to change was holding both of us back. I want to support your vision and help make this club the best it can be." Elijah reached out and placed a hand on Gerald's shoulder. "I'm glad to hear that, Gerald. Change isn't easy, but with your experience and our shared commitment, I believe we can achieve great things together." A sense of relief washed over Gerald as he felt the sincerity in Elijah's words. "Thank you, Elijah. I want to be a part of this new chapter for Willow Creek." Elijah smiled. "I'm glad to hear it. Let's work together to create a welcoming and vibrant community here." As Gerald left the office, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. The collaboration between him and Elijah promised a brighter future for Willow Creek, one where inclusivity and respect were at the forefront. Weeks turned into months, and the positive changes at Willow Creek continued to flourish. The club became a hub of diverse activities and events, attracting members from all walks of life. The staff, now united under Elijah's leadership, worked seamlessly to ensure every guest felt welcome and valued. One evening, Willow Creek hosted its first annual Cultural Harmony Gala. The grand ballroom was adorned with decorations representing various cultures, and a stage was set for performances celebrating the rich diversity of the membership. Members mingled, sharing stories and traditions from their backgrounds. Elijah stood at the entrance, greeting guests with a warm smile. His presence radiated confidence and genuine happiness as he watched the event unfold successfully. Gerald, now fully integrated into the new leadership, worked alongside Maria to ensure everything ran smoothly. As the night progressed, the highlight of the evening was a heartfelt speech from Elijah. Standing at the podium, he addressed the assembled members and staff. "Tonight we celebrate not just our individual cultures, but the unity that binds us together as a community," Elijah began. Willow Creek is more than just a country club. It's a place where friendships are formed and memories are made. By embracing our diversity, we strengthen the very foundation of this club. The room filled with applause, members feeling a deep sense of belonging and pride in the club's transformation. Gerald watched from the sidelines, a genuine smile on his face. He realized that the changes weren't just beneficial for the members, but had also revitalized the club's spirit and camaraderie. After the speech, Elijah approached Gerald. "You did a great job tonight, Gerald. The gala was a huge success." Gerald nodded, his earlier apprehensions now replaced with confidence. "Thank you, Elijah. It's been a rewarding experience working together." Elijah placed a hand on Gerald's shoulder. "I'm proud of what we've accomplished. This is just the beginning, and there's so much more we can achieve together." As the night drew to a close, members lingered, enjoying the festivities and the newfound sense of community. The success of the Cultural Harmony Gala was a testament to the power of inclusivity and the positive impact of embracing change. Despite the successes, not everything was smooth sailing. A few longtime members voiced concerns about the rapid changes, fearing that the club's traditional values were being overshadowed. Some even questioned Elijah's decisions, leading to heated discussions during meetings. One afternoon, a group of senior members gathered in the lounge, their voices raised in frustration. "We brought Willow Creek together," one member argued. "Now it feels like we're losing what made this club special." Another member chimed in, "I agree. While diversity is important, we mustn't forget our roots and the traditions that defined us." Gerald, having fully embraced the changes, took on a more active role in the club's leadership. His journey from resistance to acceptance served as an inspiration to others, demonstrating the power of personal growth and the importance of standing up for what is right. One autumn afternoon, Elijah stood once again on the clubhouse balcony, now decorated with banners celebrating the club's milestones. Below, members enjoyed a lively harvest festival, a perfect blend of tradition and new cultural influences. Children played games, families shared meals, and the air was filled with music and laughter. Elijah felt a deep sense of fulfillment as he watched the community he had helped build thrive. He knew that the path to creating an inclusive environment was ongoing, but the progress made at Willow Creek was a beacon of hope for other institutions seeking to embrace diversity. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the club, Elijah reflected on the journey. The challenges faced, the resistance overcome, and the unity achieved were all part of Willow Creek's enduring story. It was a testament to the belief that with determination, empathy, and collaboration, true change was possible. Gerald approached Elijah, a genuine smile on his face. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" Elijah nodded, placing a hand on Gerald's shoulder. "Yes, we have. And there's still so much more we can do together." Together, they watched as the members celebrated another successful event, knowing that their efforts had created a lasting legacy of inclusivity, respect, and community at Willow Creek Country Club.